Hello everybody and welcome to week 2 of our Fantasy Football League. Are you ready for my predictions video? I know you are. Get ready for some shocks. Get ready for some bombs to be thrown. Get ready to say wow. These are my week 2 picks from your undefeated Creston Martin. The Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife is back in action with prediction videos this week. Our first matchup this week is between Foles Gold, a.k.a. Nick Mowry, against Michael Atkinson, a.k.a. Break Every Shame. You know, Mike has a great team this year. Drew Brees is on top of it. While Nick Mowry, he kind of has a little bit of an older team. Steven Jackson, Nick Foles kind of looked like garbage coming out of the gate last week. He ended up with a respectable number, but it was against the Jaguars. He started off bad. And I really think Mike is going to win this week, 106-100. Many tears will be dropped by Nick Mowry this week. Sorry, you won last week. I predicted you to lose, but, I had another idea this week that you would lose again. According to my predictions, anyway. You won last week. But you're going to lose this week. Mike Atkinson's going to lay his boomstick on you. Bam. And you're going to go down. It's going to be a respectable loss, but still, it doesn't matter if you lose by 1 or 100. It's still a loss in the loss category. So, boom, you're getting hit with a loss this week, Nick Mowry. So, don't cry too hard. Because Mike is, he's got a solid team this year. DeMarco Murray, man. All right, so that brings us to our next matchup, which is Rookies of the Year, a.k.a. Chris Kelly, against Dan Mowry, a.k.a. Ain't Nobody Got Time for That. Dan Mowry had a great week last week, but he came up a little short. In fact, he was the number 3 team in the points standings. But unfortunately, he's 0-1 because he had to play, just an amazing team called Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife. But I really do think that Brother Mowry is going to come back strong this week. In fact, I'm going to predict him to win against Chris Kelly. Chris Kelly had the number 1 rated team coming out of the draft, but guess what? The draft doesn't mean anything. It's all about what your players do on the field. That's what counts, is what your players put together on the field. And guess what? Your players are not putting enough out there, when it counts on Sundays, Thursday nights, and Monday nights. Dan's got Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, the legendary Adrian Peterson. Le'Veon Bell looks great. He may have smoked some weed, but guess what? He's going to be smoking Chris Kelly's team this week. Chris just doesn't have it all together. He has too many Cowboys on his team. The Cowboys just don't look too good. Jason Witten, Des Bryant, Tony Romo's got to string some better performances together. So, I'm predicting Dan Mowry to win 110-93. Our next matchup is between none other than Kate Mowry, a.k.a. Minty Hippo, against Mayhem, which is Christian May. Now, I know what y'all are going to be thinking. Sunday night, y'all are going to be laughing at Harrison because he's going to lose to a girl this week. That's right. I'm calling it right here, right now. Kate Mowry is going to defeat Harrison May, a.k.a. Mayhem, 83-75. I don't really like either of these teams this week. Harrison has Jamal Charles, who looked like garbage week 1. I mean, they've got to give him some more carries. And Matthew Stafford, his quarterback's going up against the Carolina defense. Roddy White's questionable. He's getting older. Kate has some injuries to deal with, but she has, I like this guy for New Orleans. His name is Kenny Stills. I really like him. I think he, if she ends up playing him this week, he could have a huge game. So, again, I like Minty Hippo, 83, Mayhem, 75. Our fourth game of the week to go over is Ray, Oops, I Hit Her Again, Rice, versus Team Batanzos, which is an awful team name. You guys need to think of a team name. What do you think? You can't think of a team name? Just go to Google and type in funny team names and pick one. It's easy. And it's fun. It's fun. It's one of the more fun things about fantasy. So, really just, you got to get together. You have to come up and, I'm just going to hit you with a stupid name if you don't come up with something creative. But, again, unfortunately for Team Betanzos, he's not going to do too well this week. Zach Sifke, all his picks seem to be working. Percy Harvin looks great. He looks like he may rush for more yards than some running backs. Aaron Rodgers, he started off really bad last week, against the Seahawks, but guess what? He's playing the Jets this week. The Jets have a good front seven, but you know what? That just means that he's going to throw the ball a lot. And Arian Foster is his one of his running backs, his main running back, and he plays the Raiders this week. The Raiders are awful. I mean, he has great matchups this week, in my opinion. And Manuel and Alex, they're premier players, Doug Martin. And guess what? Doug Martin is probably not going to play this week. I really doubt he'll play. And so they have to work around that and figure out what they're going to do with Doug Martin and the rest of their team. And it's going to be a rough week for Manuel. It's just not going to end pretty. I'm just giving a thumbs up to Zach Sifke to really tear them up this week. This will be the beatdown of the week. You can stone cold lock guarantee a Zach Sifke victory over Team Betanzos. All right, that brings us to our fifth game of the week. None other than the Asgardian Hammers, which were the embarrassment of the league last week. You have to really think, what are they doing starting a quarterback who does not play that week? He's out injured. You got to pay attention to those injury reports. I mean, everybody's got a smartphone. You get those little alerts on your phone if you want to sign up for them. To tell you to, don't start this dude. He's inactive. So you got to pay attention to that stuff. But unfortunately, it wouldn't have mattered anyway because that was just it was one of the worst fantasy performances I've ever seen. I don't know how many points he ended up with, like 23, but it was just not pretty at all. I mean, he just does not have a solid team enough to beat Hi Joe Kids, Hi Joe Wife, who he's playing this week. That's just a great team with Matt Forte. Monte Ball looks great. He looks like he could be a superstar this year, superstar fantasy player, kind of like Marino was last year for Denver. And it's just not going to be a pretty week for the Asgardian Hammers. They lost by almost 100 points this week. It won't be that bad for them, but, still they're going to get hit pretty hard. They're going to be bailing ship. I mean, Confetti's going to be flying for my team. The Hi Joe Kids, Hi Joe Wife is going to definitely take this victory home. I'm predicting a final score of Creston Martin, myself, with 112 to Garrick Harris's 75. It won't be pretty. It's almost the beatdown of the week, but I do think that Zach Sifke will beat Manuel by more than I'll beat Garrick, but it's still, that's another lock. It's just not going to happen. Garrick is going to go to 0-2. But fortunately, that brings us to our last pick of the night, and the week, which is Christian May against Daniel Lavoie in our game of the week. That's right, the commish against C-SPAN. Who do you think is going to win? Silas doesn't know. You don't know, but guess what? I know. You know why I know? Because I know fantasy football. And I've seen a lot of it in my day, and I know that the commish has a solid squad. In fact, he has all of the best wide receivers except for Demaryius Thomas. He even has the best one that is suspended for the entire year, Josh Gordon. I tell you, if Josh Gordon's suspension gets removed, this team is going to be very, very scary. All they need is, a good running back to really just take it to the next level and almost be unstoppable. I even have, a football that says Wilson on it. And this football says Wilson on it because he knows that Russ Wilson plays for the commissioner. And the commissioner's going to win this week, 110 to 88. It's not going to be pretty for Christian May. Sorry, May brothers, but you're both going down this week to Kate Mowry and Daniel Lavoie. So that's my picks for this week. Again, I picked Daniel to defeat Christian, Creston to defeat Garrick, Zach Sifke will defeat Manuel Betanzos, Kate will beat Harrison, Dan Mowry beats Chris Kelly, and finally Mike Atkinson with a big win over Nick Mowry. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video and have a great week. Bye.